These are the Ikko ActiveBuds, and the concept is both mad but also fantastical. But do we really need an earbud case with this type of technology in it? Is it just an insane gimmick? Now, when I first saw these, I was simultaneously interested and very confused. With a world of screens and noise, do we need yet another device with a screen on it? But my curiosity was far larger than my skepticism for this idea. So let me take you back to my very first experience with these a few weeks ago, taking them out of the box for the very first time. Today's weird tech concepts that I can't actually wait to try are these things by Ikko. These are headphones with AI built into them. Instructions, we're going to need those. What makes these special, and unlike any headphone that I've ever seen, is that they have a screen on them that has AI built into it. I mean, why you'd need this, I don't know. That's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. So I think this just slides. Look at that, that slides, and you've got the headphones underneath there. We've got there's an actual screen on this. This is snappier than I thought. I was wondering how they were going to do the keyboard. This is like they kind of made it a bit bigger, so I have to scroll through the letters. Very interesting so far. This is actually a really polished experience. How do I make a pizza?
Fun and delicious process. Here's a simplified recipe to get you started. Ingredients: pizza dough, store-bought or homemade. Pizza sauce. Cheese. Mozzarella is traditionally used.
The front of my headphones case has full instructions on how to make a pizza. That is a first. I'm going to have to spend some more time with this. Right, let's have a quick listen then. So it looks like I can play audio straight from here. I don't know if it has internal memory, I'll need to explore this, but let us have a listen to a song. Yeah, not bad. Oh. 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 Interesting. Right, I'm going to pause that there because these are more complicated than I thought, and they've got a lot more functionality than I anticipated. As headphones, they sound pretty good on initial inspection. Nothing amazingly special. Slightly favourable on highs. But generally a pretty even clarity all around. But it looks to me like they do a lot more. So, see you back in a few weeks. Now, in that short unboxing, you could see from the stunned silence at times that I was confounded by this technology, and now after several weeks of use I find myself equally as confounded. So let me show you how this all works and dive into just what these are capable of. The case itself is remarkably sleek, insanely so in fact. I can't actually believe they've packed so much tech into a unit of this size. Considering this has a 1.8-inch AMOLED display along with a quad-core 1.4 GHz processor, 6-axis motion sensor, SIM card slot, a small speaker, a sliding compartment that houses 2 headphones, and a battery that can, on paper at least, power the headphones for 30 hours and the screen for 12 hours of usage. Although, with that said, having tested this, that's probably a little bit optimistic. You're lucky to get half of that if you use all of the features and connectivity that I'm about to run you through. But still, it's even got a small vibration motor in it for various uses and notifications. It's unreal that they've packed all of this into a size that's not much bigger than your average wireless earbud case. In fact, I'd go as far as saying that these might actually be smaller than a good number of wireless headphones that we've tested before, which is just insane. A couple of other specs on paper is that it's IPX4, has GPS, uses Wi-Fi, 4G, Bluetooth 5 and can be charged wirelessly too. The case is rather nicely designed, but the best bit has to be the awesome sliding mechanism to push the display out of the way, revealing the earbuds underneath, which, to be honest, is extremely addictive. It's like a little fidget toy. Can't stop doing it. Now, the software it runs is actually Android, with Ikko's own wrapper around it to make a slimmed down, more simplistic experience with this form factor. Now, technically, I think if I wanted to, or if I had the desire to, you might be able to remove this wrapper and make it work like a fully fledged Android phone with a tiny little screen. I wonder. Now, I probably shouldn't, but I do wonder. Anyway, the software is pretty straightforward to use. On the main homepage, you've got the date, your connectivity, the time, information about the charge, and what's nice is a little selector on the left-hand side that you can swipe to change the mode of the headphones between regular, ANC, and transparency mode. The ANC is very good as well. It's not the best I've tried, but it sufficiently gets rid of a lot of the low-frequency droning noises around you that you get on things like public transport. Swiping right gives you access to all of the installed apps on the headphones. Now, I should probably get my special hat out here to admit something. When I first tried this out in the unboxing, I couldn't work out for the life of me why tapping on any of the apps wasn't opening anything. And then I realised, and I say realised, but I mean just read the instructions, you've got to hold your finger on an app to launch it. I kind of think this is actually a good idea as it reduces accidental presses in the pockets to zero. It just wasn't the most obvious or immediately obvious given that it behaves a little bit different to everything that I've tried before. Now, once I'd worked out actually how to use the apps, it was a case of exploring what they had to offer. But in all honesty, as stock out of the box, there's not a huge amount on here. You've got ChatPal, which is essentially ChatGPT. You've got EQ customization, a language translator. You've got the ability to phone and message if you use a SIM card. And you've also got a calculator and a small app store. What's quite good is the navigation can be done through either the touchscreen or by using a little panel on the right hand side which acts as a capacitive scrolling pad. This is actually a really handy addition given that my thumb covers almost all of the screen whilst I'm using it. Now, there's not a huge amount of apps available to install in the App Store at the moment through the Ikko App Store, but there are a bunch of categories with coming soon as a little teaser in the header, so it'll be interesting to see what they release in the future. But of the ones that are available now, there are a few ones that stand out. Zoom is one of them, but more interestingly, music streaming apps. You can actually install Apple Music, Spotify and Tidal directly to the case itself, so you never have to use your phone. You've got it all on here, which is interesting. In a way, this is similar to the sort of experience that you get with something like a cellular Apple Watch, except with the Apple Watch you need to bring a separate pair of headphones. These, on the other hand, have those built directly into the case. Now, if you didn't want to stream, obviously you can download music, and the Ikko Music app as well gives you primary ability to sync music from your computer onto its own internal storage. A bit like an old MP3 player type thing, and you can change the EQ in here between presets and custom settings. Now, from a sound perspective, as I mentioned, it's a pretty even sound with a slight favour to the highs. So it took a little bit of playing around with the EQ to find a profile that gave me more warmth, which is my personal preference in sound. From the presets, the rock mode seemed to give the most depth, but tinkering around, I moved on to a custom preset which suited me a little bit better. And after a tinkering, the sound is pretty respectable. Realistically, it's not going to win any awards for its audio quality, but I'm certainly not disappointed by what these are capable of. And if you throw the bass to its maximum, it's actually quite surprising how much bass you can pump out of these. And the thing is, there seems like there's more to come from the sound too, with an AI sound profile option which is being teased again as coming soon within the software, so I'll be interested to see what that's all about. And as for the AI, let's talk about its ChatGPT integration, because this is perhaps the most advanced feature of this product and is probably going to be one of the most overused words of 2024 by every single tech company. AI, AI, AI. By Christmas, I will be throwing up in my mouth every time that's said. I can already feel a headache coming on. But back to these. Now, tapping on ChatPal app brings up a simple chat interface where you can converse with your headphones and case. And I'm pretty sure that this is capable of doing anything that the main ChatGPT service is capable of. You can talk to it either through the headphones or chat directly to your headphones case, which also has a microphone and a speaker, although the speaker is a little bit quieter to use in louder environments, as you saw earlier in the unboxing. Now, what exactly will you use this particular function for? I'll be honest and say I haven't got the foggiest right now, but I do think there's big potential for it to be useful. Just like devices like the Humane AI Pin and a Rabbit R1, these headphones almost fall into that type of technology, and in some ways are better than both of those, as it's smaller than the Rabbit R1 and has a screen unlike the Humane Pin, albeit these headphones do lack a camera. But what I think this AI would benefit from on these headphones is the ability for more contextual computing. Because it uses a wrapped version of OpenAI's ChatGPT, it has all of the limitations and lack of context that has too. For example, it's unable to pull any new information from the model which it isn't trained in, like current affairs, and it doesn't also understand the location-based information such as where I am. But with that said, although there are some limitations currently, I think Ikko have some big plans for this in future. And like the AI EQ profile I mentioned earlier, they're already teasing the inclusion of AI voice features to respond to you. What this will look like, I have no idea, but I'm certainly curious to see just how that changes the overall experience. But the final interesting piece of the software is the Ikko Speakeasy app, which allows you to make voice memos, but more importantly, allows you to use the earbuds for translation. Now, there's a few options in here, such as live translation with duo mode, where you can hand over an earbud to a person that you're conversing with, and you should, in theory, then be able to have a conversation with each other in each other's respective mother tongue. And the case then translates that for you, relaying the translated audio to your headphones. I love the idea of this, although I've not been able to test this out yet, given that I live in the middle of the countryside and people can barely speak here, let alone speak English. It's all just guttural grunts and by gums. So that's the software experience overall. And for the most part, it's certainly been interesting. I think it does need some work, and I think it definitely could do with some further optimization from a software standpoint, because there's a few dead ends here and there with coming soon written on it. Generally, though, the interface feels snappy, which is a great start, but there are some things that I think could be done in a slightly better way. But this might just be a limitation of how they've gone about it with this software. With this being essentially a full version of Android that has kind of a wrapper around it to make it into the experience that they're trying to give people, there are lots of things viewable and doable and done in a way that I think shouldn't be on a device of this size. There are also a few other things that I've found, such as the interaction and connectivity between the headphones and your regular device like your phone. This is slightly unusual because they're fully capable of being treated like a regular pair of headphones, in this sense, being able to be paired up via Bluetooth directly to your devices, but there's very little else that you can do here. Even the volume control within the software on the case doesn't connect with your phone. This only controls the media coming from the case itself. I would love to see more connectivity and integration between the case and your phone, even for things like seeing notifications and media status and media control on the home screen. I don't think this would be impossible either. There are plenty of third-party devices, even cheap fitness trackers capable of doing stuff like this. So it should be very, very much possible, and I'd love to see that from them. And I think there's loads of potential here that's just yet to be realised. Yet. And I think that's the key word in this episode, really, is yet. This is a brand new type of technology that integrates AI into something in a way that I would never even have thought of in a fever dream. And I almost think that all of my misgivings are software based. But it's quite clear that Ikko here are committed in making regular updates to the experience, and they've already planned a roadmap of feature updates coming soon, along with loads of refinements to the experiences that they've already done. Even in just the last month or so, you can check the updates they've done on their website, you can see that they've done a hell of a lot here with the optimization and additional features that they've added. I'm genuinely excited in seeing what these are going to be capable of in the coming months, and I hope that the experience just kind of gets better and better, because despite my hatred of the word, I think AI is unfortunately here to stay, and seeing a company like Ikko break the mold in how we utilize it is very interesting indeed. From a hardware perspective, I think they've got a lot right. But the only thing I would like to see in the hardware in the next iteration is better water resistance. Their rating of IPX4 is good for sweat and activities, but not great for particularly wet environments like around the poolside, for example. I'd be a little bit worried about dropping them in, as they likely wouldn't survive full submersion, so you've got to bear that in mind. So what does all of this cost, and what does it all amount to? Well, they're not cheap at all. Currently sitting at £309, and I'll leave a link in the description so you can check them out, see if they're running any discounts at all. But I guess I'm saying that they're not cheap, but realistically on the flip side, there's very little to compare them to be able to actually say whether that's a good price or not. I guess as more devices come out like this, we'll get a better picture on the value of this type of technology for sure. But I can certainly say that this device has further intrigued me in this type of technology. Jury is definitely still out on whether you'd see the long-term benefits of bolting AI and a screen to a much more portable form factor like a pair of headphones. But I think as more things become supported, and if Ikko adopt a contextual compute for the AI, then I do think products like the Ikko ActiveBuds have the potential to take over from your phone. Let's come back to this in a few years. What do you think of this concept? Do you think it's a massive gimmick, or is it something with the potential to change the way we interact with technology? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll be sticking around replying to all of your messages for the next hour or so, so make sure you let me know what you think in the comments. And we are so close to 100,000 subscribers, I can almost taste it. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. And if unusual technology that breaks the mold is your cup of tea, go and take a look at our review of the Heatbit, a winter space heater that also mines Bitcoin. Other than that, guys, I will see you back for another episode of STU'S Reviews soon.